everyone, and welcome to our weekly Hillel broadcast. Here you will learn from the other 8th graders about current events, about the weather, about prayers, and so much more. I hope you enjoy! Itai is going to be telling us a little bit about the weather this week.
Thank you so much, Rachel. This week's weather will start off partly cloudy, with warm temperatures in the 60s. Towards the end of the week, we will see slight rain showers, and the temperatures will drop into the 50s. So towards the end of the week, remember to bring a raincoat and some rain boots, so you stay dry when outdoors and don't get a cold.
I'm so excited about this warmer weather, Itai. Thank you for sharing! Huvi is going to tell us about what's happened this week in history to give us a better understanding of history and the world around us.
Thanks, Rachel. On March 21st, 1918, a failed assassination attempt against Hitler played out with a bomb. Something that was very historic happened on March 22nd, 1972. The Equal Rights Amendment was passed, which prohibited discrimination against a person because of their gender. And finally, on March 26, 1979, something really big happened between Israel and Egypt. Prime Minister Menachem Begin and Egypt President Anwar Sadat signed a peace treaty. Well, that's all. Tune in next week.
Wow, that's really interesting. Thank you so much, Huvi. This week has been full of news and events that are really important for us to hear about. Ari is going to tell us about some of them.
Thank you, Rachel. This week there was a lot of interesting things to talk about, so make sure to pay attention. To start off, this past week, President Biden made a promise to have 100 million shots in arms and 100 million stimulus checks in pockets. The U.S. hit the milestone of 100 million shots early last week, which consisted of 71 million Americans that have received one vaccine. Out of that 71 million, 38 have been fully vaccinated. 2 weeks ago, President Biden signed a $1.9 trillion COVID-19 relief bill into law. This included $1,400 stimulus checks for people below certain income thresholds and other direct aid for families. As I said before, the administration plans to reach 100 million checks given out by early this week. Moving on, there is some interesting news about Google. Last week, a federal judge in California told Google that the company must face a lawsuit over tracking users' activities in Chrome's incognito mode. Google had appealed to the court to throw out the case, but the judge rejected the request. The suit seeks at least $5 billion in damages from the search giant, nearly $5,000 per user. Lastly, travelers are finally returning to the skies, fueling optimism that the struggling industry during the pandemic is finally turning a corner. Airline companies have seen an influx of tickets being purchased, despite the CDC saying that traveling now could lead to more COVID-19 cases. The CEOs of major airlines have also come out saying that the upcoming quarters and years look good for the industry. This is some exciting news, and I personally cannot wait until it's safe to travel. Thank you so much, and stay tuned for current events next week.
There are so many things happening this upcoming week, including Passover, and Cheryl's going to tell us about some of them.
So, this coming week is a very exciting week. We have two very important things to share. The first night of Pesach is this Saturday, March 27th. To make sure that we have time to prepare for our Seder before Shabbos, school will be closed on Friday, the 26th, and will remain closed through the end of Pesach, April 4th. We return on Monday, the 5th, and our third and last APTT is that week. Also, Yashar Koach to all of our students, families, and teachers who made this year's virtual science fair awesome. Many people, including me, have gotten to see all of your science experiments and poster boards. Sadly, we were not able to do the science fair in person, but I had a wonderful time and I hope you did too. Lastly, happy birthday to Audrey Pullum, who will be turning 8 on March 28th. Mazal tov.
Thank you, Cheryl. Rafi is going to help us better our connection with God by explaining one of the prayers that we say each morning.
Yigdal is a prayer we usually say after Adon Olam. It is based off of the 13 Principles of Faith by Maimonides. Some of the verses translates to, in Israel, none like Moses arose again, a prophet who perceived his vision clearly, or God gave his people a Torah of truth, by means of his prophet, the most trusted of his household.
Thank you, Rafi. Since there are so many parshiyot to learn about, Sammy is going to help explain each one as we read them from the Torah each week.
In this parsha, God talks about the Korbanot laws. God instructs Aaron about their duties in being the Kohanim that offer the Korbanot. God says that the fire must be kept going. The Kohanim eat the meat and the sin and guilt offerings, and the remainder goes as an offering. The peace offering, however, is eaten by the person who brought it, except for the parts that go to the Kohanim. Aaron and his sons stayed in the temple for 7 days, during which Moshe made them Kohanim.
Thank you, Sammy. That was really interesting.